What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? So, continuing with my Mortal Kombat rants, this one is now going to be aimed at the players. And I'm using a tier list that a guy called Cherny Volk put together. Some of you might know Cherny Volk. He plays online, does not go to tournaments under any circumstances. I think he's been spotted at one or two. But in general, much like Sikanda, will not go to tournaments. I don't really know why either. I don't know, maybe they just like sitting in their house and playing games, which is, that's totally fine. I just know a lot of people call them out to go to tournaments. But anyway, I'm just using this guy's tier list, and although this is an idiotic tier list, most tier lists put out by Mortal Kombat players are idiotic and very, very simple, and I struggle to understand them, and maybe this is just me, but I feel like they kind of, their tier lists are extremely biased. They're not objective at all. There's not a sense of objectivity in their tier list at all, and you can tell because Cherny is a Scorpion player, and look at where he's put him. Unviable Scorpion. We're gonna get to Scorpion in a bit. Now, the reason that I want to talk about tier list is that Mortal Kombat 11 and Mortal Kombat X are both games with 3 variations. Mortal Kombat X started out with 3. Mortal Kombat 11 got 3 later down the line. I don't know why they did it like that, but anyway. So it's a game with 3 variations, and what does this tier list look like to you? It's just showing the character's face. Now, some characters play extremely differently per variation. So when I look at a tier list for Mortal Kombat 11, I don't know what the hell they're talking about. So you can see at the top, they've got Noob Saibot. Now I have to assume that they are talking about C and Double. Now the problem with this is that I have to assume that they're talking about C and Double. They could be talking about Dark Sabbath. They could be talking about Pitch Black. I don't know. And also, as we know with fighting games, the more people explore them, the more likely you are to find some stuff that turn the entire character on their head. Now, I play Dark Sabbath. I prefer Dark Sabbath to C and Double, even though I can see the benefits of C and Double. I just prefer it, and I make it work. I'm not the best player out there, but I make it work. And I would. There's certain things that I would argue just because I play a certain character, but objectively, it would be wrong for me to base what I do with a character on the entire tier list without breaking it down properly. So you got these characters here. There's no indication of what variation he's talking about. That's the first red flag, and that is a red flag that is not exclusive to Cherny and this tier list. This goes for everyone. And I've heard a couple arguments how people are saying, well, you should assume that they're talking about the most powerful one. Well, how do I know that? How do I know? For a new player that is looking at tier lists, wanting to get an idea of who's good and who isn't, who should they go for, blah, 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 blah. They look at this and they go, well, what the hell does that mean? And they might pick up, like, where's Shang Tsung? Shang Tsung's on requires secondary section near Nightwolf. Shang Tsung's Warlock, I think the name's Warlock. The Warlock variation is so stupid that a monkey could use it, and it's very powerful. And he has 2 other variations that are completely useless. I believe it's Spellmaster is one of the most useless variations in the game. I don't know what they were smoking at NRS when they put that variation together, but it's crap. It's crap. There's no 2 ways about it. Same with Pitch Black Noob Saibot. The variation's crap. It's got very few applications, maybe 1 per character. So someone will look at a tier list and be like, oh, Shang Tsung he's really cool. He's up there. He seems strong. They go and choose the Spellmaster variation. They're like, what the hell is this? Now, obviously, I know they can just go and pick the other one and realize that's what they were talking about. But it's very misleading, and it's very just like, if you're talking about what you believe to be the best variation of the character, you should put the character's name in it, and then you should have the name underneath it of what you think. So you've got Cetrion, I don't know, Spring Cleaning, I think the one that everyone uses. Fair enough. Cetrion being top of the tier list, I can see that. I ain't got any qualms with that. As a matter of fact, the first 3 that he's put on there, I don't really have any qualms with it. My problem with this guy's tier list is right at the bottom. It's got Scorpion as unviable. Now, I don't know what crack Cherny was smoking when he made Scorpion unviable, but it's obviously some powerful shit. He's also got Cabal down there, and Cabal is a character that is safe on everything, does higher damage than Baraka, and you know he has a move where if you press a button out of place, he'll punish you at full screen. He's also got a super that is basically a teleport. I don't know what Cabal is doing that low on the tier list. You know, same goes for a few other things, but I don't want to get too much into where he's placed characters. It's more just the idea of tiers in Mortal Kombat. So we've spoken about the variation issue in Mortal Kombat. The other issue with the tier lists in Mortal Kombat is that, you know, if you look at each player's tier list, they are wildly different. And that's what I was talking when I said that people are very subjective when they put tier lists together. They're doing it based off of their own wins and losses, how they perform against other characters. They're not doing it objectively. They're not looking at it on paper. And that's another thing. To go back on that, looking at Mortal Kombat on paper is a bad idea. Because yes, you might look at let's use Scorpio for example, or Kano. You look at them on paper and you're like, they haven't really got anything that seems outrageous. They haven't got obscene levels of damage. But then the problem with Mortal Kombat, unlike all other fighting games, is that when you get into battle, because this game is just riddled with bullshit and nonsense and spammy stuff, you can get away with making someone that would be considered to be unviable, making them look great. You might think that's a good thing. I think it's a bad thing. Because this game is so mashy and so all over the place that because everyone can get away with bullshit, it never really feels like you lost to the player. It feels like you lost to some level of garbage. So when I see tier lists like this, I'm just like, doing a Mortal Kombat 11 tier list is really, really, really difficult. It's really, really, really difficult in my opinion, just because there is bullshit spread across the board. And then most tier lists you look at, they're very, very, very subjective. I don't think I've looked at, I think the only person's tier list I looked at and I was like, can see what you're talking about. I still had gripes with it because it wasn't broken down variation to variation, was Foxy Grandpa. He had a pretty good looking tier list. I think it was him anyway. Sonic Fox is another one where because Sonic Fox is such an amazing player, he can pick up any character, beat the tar out of everyone, and then everyone's like, oh, that character's broken, that character's ridiculous, oh, that character's too sick. Let's not forget the whole situation with Collector, where like Cherney's got him quite high up on here. I don't know where I would place Collector myself, but I remember when Sonic Fox picked up Collector and he was just basically wrecking people with him, and everyone was like, oh yeah, Collector's top tier, blah blah blah. It's not that Collector's top tier, it's just Sonic Fox is so much better than the rest of us. Now the other side of that is that I understand that making a tier list with every single variation would take a long time. It's just that the problem with these tier lists is that, fair enough, it would take a long time, but what am I looking at right now? What the hell am I looking at? Like, I don't know what you're talking about of any of this. Like, SubZero, for example, he's got good variations across the board. All of SubZero's variations are good. I think people consider Dead of Winter to be the best variation, although I have the most trouble against the other one that has the slide and the axe that he throws from the air. I can't remember its name. But I mean, like when I'm looking at this, is he talking about all of SubZero's variations? Is he saying that SubZero as a full character belongs there, or is he just talking about Dead of Winter? When I look at this, is he talking about one of Johnny Cage's variations, or is he talking about two of Johnny Cage's variations? I don't understand the logic behind the MK tier list, because MK11 is not like Tekken or Street Fighter where every character has the same style. Like you pick Cabal, you pick the spins. The spins is totally different to whatever other variation you pick with him. So I mean, this video doesn't really have an overarching point other than whenever I see a Mortal Kombat tier list, for the most part, where people place characters. For example, as I said, my biggest gripe with this tier list is where he's put Scorpion. I feel like because he's a Scorpion main, I've seen him suffer several defeats online. He probably just doesn't, you know, he's soured by it and he thinks Scorpion's not as good as he is. Scorpion is a neutral breaking character, so I mean you can put him down there, but Scorpion will still do some serious damage to you, and he is frustrating as hell to fight. But like I said, this doesn't really have much of a point other than pointing out that I think the Mortal Kombat 11 tier lists largely are useless. So if you're a player out there trying to get into Mortal Kombat 11, don't look at these tier lists. First of all, this game is so riddled with bullshit. Pick the character you like and just apply that bullshit. Because even Shao Kahn, who's widely considered to be the worst character in the game, he can still fuck you up if you know what you're doing. You just go and watch Video Games Joe's channel. he'll show you what to do with Shao Kahn. Even Scarlet's another one where she's got a lot of issues with her strings. She's another one where you play her properly, you can apply that level of bullshit and you'll be okay. But these tier lists, to me, the Mortal Kombat community, especially with Mortal Kombat 11, I have not seen so much bullshit in a short amount of time than I have with Mortal Kombat 11. And a lot of the players in this community, the downplaying, the ridiculous tier lists, some of the buffs that they ask for as well, that's going to be another video entirely. I'm going to be talking about players and the things that they request for their characters. But anyways, guys, that's all I got to really say today. I hope you're all safe out there from this COVID-19 fiasco, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.